Hey guys, Jesse here, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the HG Barzam. Now, sorry it took so long for me to get this review out. I had some friends visiting from out of town for the past week. I got a new car. My work just reached a major milestone, so we had to celebrate that. So I've just been really busy past week, and I actually completed this kit about 2 or 3 days after unboxing it, so it's been done for a while. I just haven't had time to get around to reviewing it, so sorry about that, but here it is, and so let's just go ahead and talk about it. Um, just right off the bat, I'm just going to say this has topped the HG Mark II Revive for me as the best HG I've ever built. This is number one right now, so this is the kit to beat. Every HG I review from now on will be compared to the Barzam, at least in my mind. Um, yeah, if you have any interest in Gunpla, you need to find a way to build and buy this kit. If you have a friend who's interested in Gunpla, buy them this kit, because this is really the direction Bandai needs to be taking their sort of design philosophy, I guess, into. Because this is like pure Gunpla bliss, if you ask me. So let's talk about what I did first. The biggest thing I did was I repainted all the yellow on this kit gold, tester solid gold, just because to me the yellow here, I have a sample here, looks like straight mustard, and it just didn't sit right with me. I don't know if this is anime accurate, maybe it is, but even if it was, it's just not a good yellow. It's been a while since I've seen Zeta Gundam, so I can't really recall just off the top of my head if this is the right yellow, but in any case, it had to change for me, turned it to gold. I think it looks really, really nice with the trim, as a trim. And I painted in the fake pistons here and the pistons here, and that's all the painting I did. Aside from that, just did a top coat of TS80, fixed some seams, which we'll talk about later, and then called it a day. And I think it came out great, and it just looks amazing simply because the proportions of this kit are perfect. It is the perfect representation of the Barzam. Bandai really knocked it out of the park with the looks department of this kit. Just all the Barzam's design in general was very unique, especially for a main grunt suit of Zeta. It just had a good balance of contemporary sort of normal humanoid design and the strange sort of angular sharpness that all the enemy mobile suits of Zeta had. For me, the best representation of that philosophy is right here in the legs. You can see just a lot of angular design, but still kind of keeping the small thigh and big calf sort of aesthetic of Gundam. So those are really nice. Legs here, big thruster in the back, thruster back here, the back of the leg. The waist section is very IBO, wouldn't you say, with like the small waist and the large chest, with the exposed pistons. Looks really cool. Here's this crotch cannon or crotch laser or whatever the hell this thing was. If I recall correctly, that did shoot lasers. Very weird. The arms are also, it's just cool to see. Like, I really like how this is curved and yet it has really sharp angles between all the different parts of the arm. But then it comes down to being very boxy, but kind of has this area here. It's just a very cool design. The head, they really nailed the head with this kit. It has such a good amount of detail. That pink piece in there is actually a separate molded clear pink piece. That's right, they molded one tiny little clear piece for the eye, and it just looks great. And the proportions and angles and molding of this head are perfect in my opinion. The fin is nice and big. It did have a safety flag, but I shaved it off and sanded it down. And they just really did well with this kit. They did the HG Barzam justice after teasing it for so long. I'm just glad that it didn't turn out crap. In terms of the build, just because it's such a unique design, it did translate to a unique build, especially in the chest here. This isn't just a ball joint going into the chest. The ball joint is actually facing towards the chest with like a 90-degree angle, sort of like the 1 to 100 no grade overflag, which was the first Gunpla review I did on this channel, I believe. But that's sort of off topic. The point is, it's weird. It's different. The legs are different in the way they're constructed. There's just a lot of panels that go into weird places. The arms, you really have to pay attention to the orientation of this joint, because the joint is kind of shaped like a triangle just due to the Barzam's design, and if you get it wrong, you could end up putting these pieces in the wrong way. So really pay attention to the manual in terms of the orientation for the arms. Yeah, just because of the uniqueness of the design, it did translate it into a fun build. One thing I will say is you can see down here in the thigh, you can see that sort of white line on that joint where the legs are plugging into. That's a stress mark, and so my legs are a little loose. I think I was supposed to attach the legs facing like that and then turn them down, but I just went in straight like this, and there's sort of a piece in there to, I guess, widen the peg. I don't know how to explain it, but just be careful when plugging in the legs, or you could stress out the piece like I did. Luckily, they're using all softer plastic, so excuse me. They're using all softer plastic, so that stress mark didn't cause anything to snap. It's just going to be a little looser for me. But in any case, yeah, build was fun. No complaints really, no problems. The only thing I will say is I thought the black on this kit would be like nub hell, but in fact the blue was far more annoying. Really take your time cleaning up the nubs on the blue parts on this thing, because they white and stress like no other. So just take your time. I have a nub removal tutorial on my channel if you need it, but otherwise, again, just be mindful. Now for articulation, this thing, again, it's just pure perfection. The head can go pretty much wherever you want. No real complaints for the head. The arms kind of do this revive thing where they can go straight up in the air like that. They swing forward just fine. You just kind of have to orientate them in a way to do so. There we go. Get all across the chest like that. The arms, as you expect, can do pretty much everything modern HGs can do, double joint. The forearm, though, kind of has an extra bend here, which is kind of strange, and then the hand is on a ball joint. I have to say, I really like the hands on the Barzam. They're nice and big, and as we'll see with the accessories, the open hands look great. Another thing I forgot to mention about the build, I'm not sure what happened here. I think I stressed the plastic or something while I was posing it, but there's a seam that goes down this blue part and a seam that goes down these two gray parts, but since they're on a flat surface and since this panel line is so deep and big, they're really easy to fix. So just, bust out that extra thin cement. I forgot to also mention the stickers. There's a red sticker here on this, gold piece, but I painted that red. There's a gray sticker here, which I used, and it's in a recessed flat area, so I thought that wasn't too offensive, but you could probably omit that sticker just because, I don't know, I don't think that color accent really adds anything. You have two red stickers here and two red stickers here, which actually work really well on. They're really tiny, so I thought the adhesive wouldn't stick to the kit very well, but they work perfectly fine. But if you wanted to paint that, that would be super easy to paint because it's in a recessed area. And that's it for the stickers. But moving on with the articulation, because of that interesting ball, like chest construction, the chest can go in a whole bunch of directions. As you can see, you can really get a nice crunch in there, and then not too much back, but decent enough. Because of the lack of any skirt armor, of course, the legs are going to go everywhere and every which way. The bulk of these legs do not hinder the movement at all. It's just all really good stuff. The feet can point really far down and can go really far back. And as you just saw, this thruster part can move in and out. So Yeah, articulation pretty much perfect. In terms of posing the kit and stuff, um, the only real complaint I have about this thing is the placement of the action base connector. So it's built into the kit. That's just a hole here, but because of the angle, you kind of have to angle your action base 45 degrees about at the connection point to get him straight up, because if you just plug him straight down onto an action base, he'll kind of be doing this. So you kind of have to turn the action base so he's doing this. Not a huge complaint, but just something to mention, I guess. Now, for all that great articulation, I guess the one weak point of this kit might be the accessories. For me, we have plenty, but I think for some people, I think some people would think they're lacking a little bit. But the first thing you get are a pair of open hands, and these open hands are great. I mean, they're nice and big, very well sculpted. They don't really hold on to anything, but they're just great for styling and doing some flying poses. Just really, really great open hands. Really like these. Next, we have the Vulcan pod. I didn't top coat this or panel liner or anything. I'm not a big fan of the Vulcan pod, so I won't be using it, but it works well, looks fine. That red is actually a sticker, and we don't get a sticker for the camera, so it's a little lackluster in that sense, but you have it. It looks fine on the kit. Next, we have two beam sabers. The Barzam uses yellow beam sabers, so here they are. The beam saber handles, they're actually stored in the forearm here in this little compartment in the cannon, I guess. And you actually do build beam saber handles into the forearm, but there's no way to open that forearm and pull them out, so they give you separate beam saber handles for it. So there's like another pair in the arms, but you can't take them out. And there's nowhere to store these, so bust out your Ziploc. And finally, you get the beam rifle, very unique beam rifle design. The Barzam beam rifle is just really weird. This connects up to the top of the arm, as you'll see in the spinning base shots. And I think the idea is that the mobile suit powers the beam rifle rather than it having its own separate battery. I think it's sort of the in-universe explanation. I repainted this cable gunmetal just because I thought it looked kind of strange just being gray. You get two stickers for the cameras here. This red is a piece, and yeah, just weird beam rifle design. The Barzam holds it like sideways, and it can only really hold it in the right arm. I guess you could put it in the left arm, but then it would be upside down like this and look even weirder. But you do have that option. But it connects up to this gray piece up here. Is where the energy cable would go. But yeah, very, very unique beam rifle design. This part rotates, hinges this way, so, and it sits about where the elbow sits, so the only articulation it would be impeding would be the upper arm rotation, but in terms of bending the arm, it doesn't hinder anything. And then finally, you get this little extra piece which can replace this piece here. It's just on a polycap, so it's super easy to pull out. And this is just supposed to be like a stored beam rifle mode. I'm not sure what the point of this is. They just show the Barzam holding it without, I guess if you don't want this to impede any sort of articulation, but this doesn't, you can't connect this to the upper arm and have this stored because of this handle, and there's nowhere on the kit at all to store the beam rifle, so I'm not sure what the point of this piece is really. I would just keep this piece in because that looks more unique and is I guess more true to the canon of Zeta Gundam, if that makes sense in terms of how this is supposed to work. But yeah, this also hinges, so yep, pretty weird weapon. And that's it for the accessories. So I guess it would be nice if we got like a bazooka or any sort of other weapon with the Barzam, but as it stands, these are sort of the quintessential Barzam weapons and accessories, so I think it's enough for what you pay, because it's a relatively cheap kit. I think it's around 15 bucks, so pretty standard for HG, not like $20 like the local type Gundam, which made absolutely no sense. This is very reasonable. One interesting thing I forgot to mention, I guess you can consider this an accessory, is the backpack is actually meant to be really easily removed. Now because of mine being top coated, it's pretty stuck on there, but you can remove this backpack, and there's another hole in there for the Mark II's backpack to go on, the HG revised Mark II backpack to go on there, because at one point, I believe in the series, the Barzam kind of became a different, I forgot what was it called, like a revisioned model or something, and it had the Mark II's backpack. So they already give you the means to turn it into that Barzam by giving you that adapter hole in the back to take the Mark II's backpack, which is really nice foresight from Bandai for people who want to mod this kit. But overall, I mean, you guys probably know what I think about this kit. It's like HG perfection. If this is a must-buy for 2017 for Gunpla, even if you don't build HGs, I would highly suggest giving this guy a chance, because it's just a very nicely detailed kit, very well proportioned, very well articulated, and just a fun, unique build overall. Bandai definitely did the HG Barzam justice, which I'm very thankful for, because they have teased it for so long, as we all know, through Gundam Build Fighters, and finally they deliver, and they delivered well. So that's all I got to say about the HG Barzam. Again, great kit. Go out and get it now. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.